Welcome back to another Overwatch Coach VOD review. Today we're going to be VOD reviewing a upper tier gold player. They left a brief description that reads, "I'm stuck in gold 1 to 3. I only played Kiriko this game. I just want your feedback and input on some things I could have done better." And then they provided the replay code. So, and this one was emailed directly to me off of our email down below. So just a quick plug the email. If anybody's looking for a VOD review, I'll usually do 1 or 2 for somebody before we would discuss maybe doing something more private after more than like a couple of them. But I don't mind doing a follow-up once in a while. So feel free to shoot the email, a little description with a replay code, and we can always get another VOD review going for somebody. We can always kind of circle back and link the previous VOD review, that kind of a thing. So with that being said, this is our Kiriko player. So let's see what we've got here. So in terms of team comp, the only thing I would say maybe Ana would maybe be good just based off of what their healing composition is, which you wouldn't know yet, but just throwing it out there because they're going to be outputting a lot of healing between Mercy and Lifeweaver. These two throw out a ton of healing. So Ana with the anti-nade negates both of these like instantly. So on, and especially with the tank they're running, like if you throw good anti-nades at a time when they're low, and then suddenly all that healing can't save them anymore, you know, maybe yank, but that's about it. Maybe res, but if you camp the body, they're not going to be able to get that either. So Ana is the one hero I would probably have suggested here. The only other hero I'd throw out, but this would be more for the Brig than anything, would be Zen. Maybe Zen instead of Brig. But other than that, another hero I'd throw out there would be Lifeweaver. I find Lifeweaver with Doomfist can be kind of good. It allows the Doomfist to be kind of aggressive, and then when he gets a little too aggressive, you can yank him back and save him. You can heal him from a distance a little bit more effectively than Kiriko can. It's a little situational on that one, though. But yeah, that would be about it in terms of hero suggestions. I'm okay with Kiriko out of the gate, but I don't know that I would have stayed Kiriko throughout this game. But let's see what you do and go from there with it.
What's up?
Try to get your aim just a little bit higher, so that way when you're kind of spamming, you're spamming in a headshot range, and then anything you hit's gonna actually do some real damage. You were just a little too low there.
Be careful, Shimaba.
Enemy turret offside.
So the one thing I'll say here is your Doomfist is going in and you're not even paying any attention to him. Doomfist is by far, in a way, in my opinion, one of the squishiest tanks in this game. I find him frustrating to play with on my team. I don't like when I have Doomfist on my team. It's a personal thing for me. I don't like the character as a tank. Just don't. And he requires a lot of pocketing to allow him to be aggressive. And you weren't even looking at him to even try to save him there. And then the same thing now with like the Brig. Like Brig is way too far up, probably trying to keep the Doomfist up, but now the Brig's left frontlining and there's just no saving her. So try to, again, like when you're shooting at like Orisa's an easy headshot target because their head is so big. But you're aiming like really down low. So try to get more into a line of a headshot when you're playing Kiriko. Because if you're not hitting headshots, you're not really doing much. You know, if they're like really, really low, maybe you'll get the killing blow or something. But, you know, other than that, especially with a Mercy and a Lifeweaver healing their team, like body shots of Kiriko are really not going to do anything. So yeah, this Brig has a death wish. They don't know how to play Brig because Brig isn't a tank. You can't frontline with Brig. They're frontlining and Orisa with it. So you're going to be solo healing until this Brig either swaps or starts figuring out what they're doing is a suicide wish.
Enemy pushes the barricade.
So you could have wall climbed instead of took the stairs. You could have just wall climbed up here. A lot of people in lower ranks seem to forget Kiriko can wall climb. So okay, you're standing like way out in the open here. Where's our Torb? Or there, Torb. Just show this from the Torb's perspective for a second.
Thanks for the help. I engineered that perfectly.
I mean, he wasn't the one to... He took you out, but somebody took you down to half. I'm not sure who, but... You're just standing out in the open where you could be back a little further, using cover. You could either be back kind of where the Doomfist is right now, or you could be back in that corner over there. Where are you? There you go.
Okay, I learned from that.
Okay, so we got Lifeweaver and Kiriko now. So the real reason now that I would say you definitely would just want to drop the Kiriko at this point is you've got nothing to cleanse. There's nothing over here that you're cleansing, right? In terms of healing, you're struggling to keep up with your team to keep them up with Kiriko. And then on top of that, the damage from you really isn't there either. Whereas if you played Ana, these would be easy anti-nades. Potentially easy sleep darts too. Another hero you could try playing might be Baptiste, but the same thing would apply where you gotta hit the head. Like, you gotta do headshots to really do damage here. Otherwise, now that you have Lifeweaver, Zen, I think, could be a good pick here too. There's a lot of easy targets to hit with Zen, and the Discord Orb might make it difficult for the Mercy and the Lifeweaver to keep something up if the team focuses on your Discord Orb.
Enjoying the view?
Draw straight from nature. That party was boring. Let me balance you out.
Keep healing, keep healing. Yeah, I would not be trying to snipe the Mercy like that. If your aim's feeling that off. I would worry more about keeping the people around you at full health, and then in between your rounds of healing, get a DPS shot off on like the tank. Wait for the Mercy to land, and then you can maybe shoot at her a little bit. Typically, when you are playing Kiriko, when you're trying to get some extra damage out there, you throw out a wave of healing and you take about 2 shots, DPS shots, and then you throw out another wave of healing. Try to get in the habit when you're playing Kiriko of doing that. Good teleport out just to get you out of danger. Yeah, I think the Lifeweaver kind of pulled you out of a rough spot there. If you had wall climbing like in your head, like as an ability that Kiriko can do, because I haven't really seen you do it yet, you could have maybe wall climbed that wall right here, this wall right there, and kind of played keep away from the Orisa, or just made yourself hard to hit, and maybe the Orisa just gets too hyper focused on you while the rest of the team focuses the Orisa down. But you're not really wall climbing, so like teleporting there kind of puts you in a rough spot. The lava kind of forced you into it to some extent, but I think like had you have teleported into here, or maybe like kind of gotten yourself into here to begin with, and rather than staying more by your tank, I think would have been the better play, and then you guys could have been healing the tank from in here. Although your tank's got to stay in line of sight, and that's on your tank. Although good teleport to try to keep them up. Another thing to consider would be maybe lowering your sensitivity a little bit on Kiriko, just because it seems like you're having trouble tracking your teammates when you're healing. I'm noticing a lot of your healing isn't actually locked on to anybody. So maybe if you lowered your sensitivity a little bit and played around with that to some extent. I'm not going to throw out any particular numbers of sensitivities because everybody's got their own preferences and what they're used to. But maybe lower it a little bit and see if you can get locked onto somebody a little easier, or raise it. For me, it would be lowering, but maybe raising it would help you too. I don't know. Some people like their mouse sensitivity really high. I'm more the opposite when it comes to that. But I'm just noticing a lot of your healing tickets coming out there aren't yellow, they're blue, which means they're not tracking anything. Good job with the headshot on Marissa. Try to aim a little higher, see if you can land a headshot on the Life Weaver. Keep your Diva topped off. Keep your Life Weaver topped off. When there's a momentum shift changing in push, make sure whoever's being aggressive on your team is being pocketed so that they don't get picked and suddenly the momentum you're starting to gain doesn't immediately start shifting back on the other team's side, because push is all about momentum. Maybe you lose the first fight or two and you go down 64-15. But all it takes is another one fight, and suddenly you're pretty much back to even at that point. But if, like, say the Diva overextends and isn't properly being supported on that overextend, suddenly now you're pushing without a tank, and now that 15 that could potentially turn into like 50-something suddenly only becomes like maybe 25. So how do you properly support this Diva right here? I would just wall climb on top of here and just look to be healing them from there. Throw out a damage shot once in a while. Maybe throw your E on her just to make them, maybe when defense matrix is down, throw that just to help mitigate a little extra damage coming their way. That's the kind of stuff I would be looking for here. So, because you weren't in a position to keep the Diva going, Lifeweaver's got to use Yank. No guarantee that they wouldn't have used it anyway, but in my mind, I don't think that they would if you were kind of like already on top of your Diva, pumping them full of heals and that kind of a thing.
Activating self-destruct sequence.
Now, that I don't like. That Diva bomb, I think that should have been saved. This is a pretty good angle to take. You're getting some safe DPS shots off now. Just make sure you're healing along with it, though. Good kill.
Ignites me like a gentle rain.
So what I would be doing here, so you've got some DPS that needs supporting. So what you could do is, one, you could be throwing your wave of healing just from here. The other thing you could do is if you find yourself being dove from here, you could wall climb up this wall and take a high ground stance and then start healing them, or healing your tank, or whoever needs it from there, and then you're probably going to be pretty safe. And then if they do somehow get up there to dive you could always drop back down or teleport to whoever looks safe at the time, that kind of a thing. The other thing is this might be a no, never mind. I was gonna say something, but I take it back before I even said it.
Helden sterben nicht.
Yeah, so just be careful about frontlining against an enemy tank, no matter what the situation is, outside of if they're like really low. Luckily you have teleport, so you've got a movement ability to bail you out of that, but just be careful of that. You don't want to develop bad habits on like one hero, and then next time you find yourself on like Ana or Baptiste or Sen or whoever, and then next thing you know, you've got an Orisa in your face and you're suddenly frontlining on support. Just be careful with that. So I like, you have the right target priority in mind. The problem is that the aim and the mechanics aren't there. So I like that you're shooting at the Mercy, but you're not hitting the Mercy, and you're also very way off on hitting the Mercy. So two things on that. One, if you're newer to playing Kiriko, which I'm not sure if you are or not, but if you are, it might just come with time. Maybe just start going into like the practice ranges or find some custom games that do some aim training, and maybe just try to warm up before you start playing competitive. The other thing is if you're not new to playing Kiriko and your aim is still not great at hitting like a Mercy. Mercy's not easy to hit, so I'm not like harping on you for missing Mercy a lot, but you're also like pretty off on it, and you're also body shotting quite a bit. So that's kind of where this is coming from. But try to do like some warm up before you start like getting into comp, and that might help pick your aim up a little bit. Otherwise, I would just say play around with your mouse sensitivity a little bit and see if that helps. Sometimes that can help a bit. I've got different mouse sensitivities for every support. Almost every support, maybe not all of them, but a lot of them have custom sensitivities to them, so that might be something to play around with too.
We have the robot, and isn't it friendly?
How can I help?
Your team is
A little more and we have the
Now we
lead.
push. Do not falter. Here we go.
木漏れ日のごとく
Hey, you all climb. Heal, 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 heal. Okay, that's actually interesting.
your team.
The Life Weaver,
Taking the lead.
you could have just grabbed that pedal and you would have been fine. This is just bad play on the enemy Life Weaver, honestly. However, I am kind of wondering why, I don't know, I feel like you could have E'd just to bail yourself out of that a little sooner, but because the Life Weaver left that pedal there, it kind of didn't matter. You could have just stayed on it too until he takes it down. I will throw this out here too. This isn't so much of a you thing, but just for anybody that plays Life Weaver and happens to be watching this. If you have a pedal and the enemy took it and starts using it, immediately take that thing down. In fact, usually when I throw a pedal down, I usually have a purpose for it. And the second that that purpose in my head seems to have gone away, like say if I throw it down for one of my DPS or Ana or whoever, and they don't take it and like the fight has just moved beyond that spot, I'll take it down or I'll throw a new one down. So that way, you know, the enemy won't be able to use my ability against us. So, you know, always be careful about that. So that's my
Be careful, Shimada.
The tree of life is ready. Your team has taken the lead.
I'm on fire!
Let's go.
What else?
So I think it would have been fine if you would have went up to where the Genji was and just did a few poke shots, and then once the robot's ready to push again, then you can always come back down and start pushing it if the Life Weaver doesn't start doing it. Because once the robot hits that marker, you know, he does the whole like scratch animation and he kind of just sits there for a little bit. I don't know what the exact time is, but I don't know, it feels like about 10 seconds or something like that, give or take a little bit. So when that's happening, feel free to move up with your team a little bit, make sure nobody's dying, getting too low, throw a few poke shots out there, because otherwise you're going to just be kind of sitting here doing nothing, and that's not really something you want to be doing. So, a little bit more strafing. You're not really moving enough, and the Torb's hitting you. Higher level Torb probably gets headshots on you. He'd be spamming more at head level. Okay, if you guys survive the Torb ultimate, I would say look to start using your ult, but only if you guys survive this, because usually when I play DPS, I do actually play a lot of Torb. I consider myself a Torb main, and when I'm playing against a Kiriko, I usually tend to wait for the Kiriko to ult, and then I'll shoot off the Torb ultimate and try to block out Kiriko's ultimate. with it. So the fact that you whether you were doing this on purpose or not, I'm not really sure, but the fact that you outweighted the Torb ult for the Kiriko ult, in my mind, like, I would, if you've got opportunity to use it after Torb's ultimate is done, use it.
Activating self-destruct sequence. What's up?
Life protects life. The resurrected one.
The battle awaits me.
Okay, so I would say this next fight initiate with Kiriko ult, because you've held on to this ult a little too long at this point, I would say. So now it's time to be getting this ultimate out there. And your Life Weaver's dead. That's really not good. That could have been prevented. Slow reaction time there.
My ultimate is ready. Join me. Let the Kitsune guide you.
Okay, so now that your Life Weaver's dead and you're still using the ultimate, what I would say, I don't necessarily hate that you did it anyway. However, because the Life Weaver is dead, you got to change up how you're going to use this ultimate for yourself. You have to just be in heal bot mode here, unless your team is just absolutely dominating the enemy and not taking much damage. But considering you've got D.Va and Zarya, your DPS are both at about 60-ish percentage HP. Just be in heal bot mode. Make sure your D.Va stays full health. Make sure your DPS are topped off. You can rapid fire the heals in Kiriko's ultimate. That's how I would approach this. But you're not healing like at all here, so your team's gonna lose this fight. Your ultimate's not really gonna do anything.
Take out the robot.
So you could have wall climbed to make yourself a little bit more difficult to hit there. The other thing you could have done is if you tried to back out of that and do some damage to the Torb, you might get into his head a little bit and make him start missing shots, because now suddenly he's taking fire back. And it might bail you out. Might not. I mean, the Moira is there too, so, you know, if maybe the Moira doesn't push and only the Torb does, that might have been your way of surviving that, but
Done playing
it is what
around.
it is.
Guys, over.
Okay, so now we're running Sigma into Zarya, so that's a little bit of a bad matchup still. I still like the Zarya over the Sigma in that case, so you're still kind of running a bad tank lineup here. It's gotten better, but it's still not ideal. So when characters are jumping like that, you should be able to predict where their movement is and hit them, especially on a Kiriko. You should be headshotting that. So you got to be able to telegraph where the jumping lands and then just hit it, where your reaction time to that aim was like where they were versus where they were going.
Time to get clever.
The enemy barricade.
I've got you.
How the dragon becomes me.
EMP activated. Be careful, Shimada.
The barrier has fallen.
Robot's ours. Let's go.
Heal, 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 heal.
I'm with you.
Really sure what the enemy team is doing here. Oh, God. Yeah, that yank kind of surprised me too, to be honest. I'm not really sure why Lifeweaver did that. I think that could have been saved for after the Mei threw up an ice wall and they pedal platform themselves and then yank them out from the wall there. You could have reacted to that a little bit quicker though, just wall climbing Mei's ice wall potentially, but that threw me for a loop too, frankly.
The air calls.
They're catching up to us. Like a gentle rain.
Life protects life.
Enemy turret over there. I'm on fire.
Let the Kitsune guide you.
Barrier is nearly spent.
Why aren't you cleansing the Sigma to unfreeze him?
Enemy turret.
Yeah, that cleanse should have been used on anybody frozen in May's ultimate.
Ladies and gentlemen, start your engines.
Good kill. Good kill.
Restoring balance.
Got the
Close
robot.
game.
Actuating the barrier.
You were boring me. Thanks, mate. Gotta go. Enemy turret over there. 60 seconds.
私が守る。
I was about to say, why aren't you healing your tank? But the Life Weaver is bailing him out, so help top him off.
They're taking the robot.
So I would say help top him off, but also be standing somewhere a little safer, like behind one of these platforms. Which one would be more up to you if you wanted to be further back or a little bit closer. I don't think that would matter too much at the moment, but you're standing out in the open considering there's a Moira ult going on, and that shield doesn't block everything coming potentially your way. So you're a little out in the open where you're currently standing. So you could even just be like standing, let's just say right here, for example, but then just kind of like going out, throw a wave of healing out, come back out, or maybe start DPSing, and as soon as they start shooting your way, go back that way. Kind of be a little bit more out of harm's way. Another reason is you're also not knowing what's behind you, so your situational awareness isn't quite there. Whereas if you're playing behind cover, there's a little bit less to keep track of around you.
EMP activated.
Power.
30 seconds.
Enemy turret ahead.
Barrier is near.
I don't give up that easily.
The universe is
I'm here. 10 seconds.
We're going to let them catch up to us?
Oh my god. If we take the robot,
Enemy
they
turret
lose.
over there.
Como ladies and gentlemen.
Start your engines.
Shoot it for one protects life.
Let the Kitsune guide you. I got you. Oh, I feel all warm inside. Shouldn't have put your head there.
Ooh, that was a close game. Okay, yeah, I like close games. I like watching those. So number one, headshots. Try to aim a little bit more for the head. Number two, heal versus damage. I would suggest doing a little bit more healing versus damage. Practice that, wave of healing, do 2 damage shots, wave of healing, 2 damage shots. Kind of practice that idea of playing Kiriko. And then 3, team comp. Ask yourself, after knowing what the enemy is playing, does this team really need Kiriko, or would they benefit from something else? Would they benefit from having anti-nade because the enemy team doesn't have anything to cleanse anti-nade, or would Discord Orb help a little bit more? something, you know what all the heroes do. So just start asking yourself, like, does the team really need Kiriko, or could I be of more use playing XYZ hero instead? Because Kiriko wasn't needed for this team. You definitely could have gotten way more utility out of a few other heroes that we covered from before. So I would say work on, actually, I'm going to throw one more down there. I don't know how to word this. Heal, I'll just say heal aim. Because I noticed a lot of your healing wasn't locked on to anybody. So just work on making sure that when you're throwing that wave of healing out there, those healing tickets that go out there, they're locked on to whoever you're trying to throw it to. Because if they're just out there floating, they're probably not going to hit anything. So just, keep that one in mind too. But anyway, thank you for the submittal. And thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.